The RS Max Patch is a cast-in-place pipe repair solution used for point repairs in active sewer mains. This video will familiarize you with the process for installing a patch. The first step in any repair is to identify the location of the defect and determine the placement of the patch. While the closed-circuit television camera is in the line inspecting the defect, you can begin by laying out all of the materials from the kit and connecting all of the packer rods together, making sure to tape all the connections to keep them secure and also to provide for smoother insertion into the line while you push the packer. While work orders for repair often come with a distance to the defect from a manhole, the CCTV camera should be used to obtain an exact measurement before installation begins. The most surefire way to determine the location of the defect is to place the iris of the camera facing directly at the defect in the line, pull back all the slack on the cord, and flag the line at the location where it meets the rim of the manhole. Then, after removing the camera from the line, lay it out next to the rods that you've already assembled and transfer the flag location to the packer rods. This should give you an exact measurement to the defect, which can be backed up by placing the CCTV camera in the line downstream during packer installation so that you can fine-tune the location based on nearby connections or joints on the pipe. The white lines on the packer should extend approximately 6 inches past the camera lens to ensure a proper lap on the defect when the packer is in place. Ideally, the patch should hit the joints up and downstream of the defect to compensate for additional cracking under pressure. Exercise the packer in an appropriately sized test pipe to determine the working pressure. Exercise the packer 3 times to make sure that it is inflating properly and fully operational. Working pressure on the packer is generally 10 to 15 psi. Do not expand the packer outside of a pipe. It's possible that it could rupture. Working pressure is the pressure to contact the outside of the pipe with the packer membrane, with an additional 2 to 3 pounds per square inch added for good measure. As this clip demonstrates, the white line on the packer represents the end of the patch. When the white line contacts the inside of the pipe, the patch should be fully in contact with the pipe for good adhesion. Pulling the packer out of the pipe, as demonstrated here, is the best way to ensure that you're getting full contact in the test pipe. The next clip shows preparations being made for a packer dry run, which involves sending the packer down the line with no sleeve or patch installed on the packer to make sure that the packer will indeed travel all the way to the defect without getting snagged on anything. Note that the cable is being taped to the packer rods to prevent snagging. And remember, pushing the packer is a confined space entry activity, so have the tripod and harness ready before you begin. As long as the packer travels all the way to the defect without issue, you can begin to remove the packer after the dry run. Then we will begin installing the patch on the packer and do the final installation. For liner preparation, insert the packer into the plastic sleeve that's included with the kit. Center the packer in the sleeve and wrap the tails in the same direction around the packer. Tape the sleeve ends to the packer all the way to the end. This will ensure that the sleeve is removed when the packer is pulled out of the line. Make a relief hole at each end of the plastic sleeve on the tails to allow air to escape during installation. Lay out the patch shiny side up. Prior to working with epoxy, put on 2 pairs of gloves. When beginning to mix the epoxy, note the date and mix time on the box end with the batch number. Mix the resin completely and pay attention to the corners of the bags, as that is where the resin usually collects. Apply resin to the shiny side and coat completely before folding back each end of the patch halfway, leaving a 1-inch lap in the middle. Coat the folded ends of the patch before flipping the entire patch so that the lap side faces down, and coat the reverse fuzzy side of the patch with epoxy. Now roll the epoxy-coated liner around the packer tightly before placing zip ties at each end, in the middle, and in between the ends in the middle. There should be 5 zip ties on the packer, evenly spaced along the length. Now is the time to remove the outside pair of gloves before installing zip ties on the packer. Attach the air rods and cable. The rods and cable should already be taped together to prevent snagging. Run the packer down the line with the assistance from the CCTV camera for placement if possible. When in place, inflate the packer to the working pressure and set a timer for the required cure time based on ambient temperature. The instructions are included with each kit. Average installation time is 9 to 12 minutes. Good luck. Leave the compressor connected to the packer throughout curing to ensure that the packer stays inflated. After curing, deflate the packer and pull back the plastic sleeve. The sleeve should stay on the packer. This concludes the RS Max Patch instructional video. If you have any additional questions, please refer them to your foreman or to the instructions included with each kit.